Okay, so we gave you a really good option for a waffle batter. It has very low carbs and no sugar. But what we didn't talk about was what to put on after the waffles are done. And that can change everything. If you load it up with a ton of syrup, then it no longer is as healthy as it was. So in my household, the battle of the sugar is constant. I want none. I want my kids to have none, but they want a ton. So we compromise, and in the case of waffles and pancakes, the compromise is they get maple syrup, real maple syrup, not the Aunt Jemima kind or the log cabin kind that I grew up with, but real maple syrup. However, it still is pure sugar. So to mitigate too much of it, I control the delivery system, and that's the compromise. So here's some options that you can do with your family as well. One is a dropper bottle. I have these laying around because either an extract has gone empty and I save the bottle, or stevia jars like this, once they're empty, save the bottle. And then I fill it up with as much syrup as I'm willing to give my kids, which is maybe a teaspoon or two. And then they can use the dropper to put it on their pancakes, and it just comes out as a drop a drop at a time, and they can easily control it so that the entire waffle or pancake is evenly covered. That way every bite seems sweet, and the effort to get it all on and out of the jar is a little laborious enough to make you feel like you're getting a lot on there when you're really not. It's just a teaspoon. So that's a good option. Another one is these little squirt bottles that have the needle point. It's got a teeny tiny hole in there. So again, this one, when you pour it, is just coming out a drop at a time. Again, really easy to evenly spread around and get a little bit of syrup with each bite. The only problem with these is that you can easily unscrew the bottle and pour it on if they get a little too impatient, and then you're stuck with the same issue as you have when you use the regular bottle that you buy at the store, which I never let close to my kids because these are dangerous. These spouts to pour it only allow for a heavy pour. That is why people end up getting a massive amount of syrup on their pancakes. A typical serving size apparently is 1/4 of a cup. That's 1/4 of a cup. That's a lot of syrup, and it's 48 grams of sugar, which I think is way too much for child or adult in one serving, especially if it's traditional batter, because those typically are heavy carb too. So it's just way too much carbohydrates in one meal. But anyway, in these two are great options. And then my favorites are these bottles. They're old Tabasco bottles. So this was a 4 ounce, and I fill it with one of these droppers. This was an old medicine dropper, and you know, it takes a little time, but it's well worth it because my kids can't get too much out of here. And again, I can only fill this a certain amount so that they can empty the thing, and it's still just not gonna be that much syrup. But the way this comes out is enough, but not too much. And then their favorite is the teeny tiny size. These miniature ones, I've seen at restaurants, and I always grab them when they're available because you can wash them out and then fill anything with them. And I actually use them for restaurants to put like tamari or coconut aminos instead of soy sauce, because I go gluten-free. So instead of using soy sauce at sushi places, I bring my own, and these are perfect. So the kids love this. My little ones especially love anything in a teeny tiny bottle. So even though this is 1 teaspoon of syrup, they're as happy as a clam to get this to put on their waffles or pancakes. And they can use the entire jar, so they feel like they're being treated, and I'm happy because it's only 1 teaspoon. So that's my option for syrup. They get about a teaspoon or 2, but the way it's delivered makes them happy, and there's no arguments. Now, another option is a blueberry syrup, which really is just blueberries. I do add a little bit of syrup, maybe 2 teaspoons, to make it even extra sweet and syrupy. But I get these wild blueberries from Trader Joe's. They're small, And the wild ones happen to be more nutrient dense, so I like that, and I like that they're tiny, which is perfect for a syrup. And about a half a cup, I think this is a half a cup. You can easily separate this into 2 servings, and all in all, it's only a teaspoon each of syrup, but it adds a lot of flavor and sweetness and adds to the nutrient profile because of the blueberries. So that's a good option too. Hope that helped. Thanks.